3 Christmas stories in described and captioned format.
Did you hear that? Let's see what's in the magic mailbox.
Gigi opens the magic mailbox. Red and gold fireworks burst.
You are gonna love this story. It's called Rudy's Windy Christmas. And oh man, is Rudy having some issues. He ate some sprouts and they're affecting his tummy. Wait till you see what happens as he's riding through the sky delivering presents with Santa in his sleigh and all the reindeer. It's pretty funny.
Magic Mailbox.
Rudy's Windy Christmas. A naughty, noisy, rip-roaring adventure. One Christmas Eve at Santa's house, amid the ice and snow, the Clauses shared a festive feast before he had to go. Mrs. Claus, who loved her sprouts, ate each and every one, but Santa fed his to a friend until the last was gone.
Santa feeds Rudy the reindeer through a window.
"Bye-bye, dear," said Santa, lifting one more sack of toys. "It's time for me to go and visit all the girls and boys." Then Santa and his reindeer friends flew up into the sky, the sleigh secure behind them, and the presents piled high. They just got to Australia when Dasher took a sniff. What was that funny smell that had a sprouty sort of whiff?
Green air puffs from Rudy's bottom.
"Oh, pardon me," said Rudy. "I think I've done a pump. My tummy did a rumble, then my bottom did a trump." The other reindeer giggled, then they flew into the sky, the sleigh secure behind them, and the presents piled high. The air was sweet for many miles, then Dancer took a sniff. Somewhere over China he had smelled that sprouty whiff. "Oh, dearie me," said Rudy. "Now I've done a windy pop. This is a bit embarrassing. I'll do my best to stop." The reindeer giggled more, and then they flew into the sky, the sleigh secure behind them, and the presents piled high. For a while the air was sweet. Then Prancer took a sniff. This time it was in India he smelled that sprouty whiff.
A green cloud trails behind Rudy.
"I'm sorry, boys," said Rudy, "but I've done a booty burp. Why did I eat so many sprouts? I feel like such a twerp." The reindeer chuckled hard, and then they flew into the sky, the sleigh secure behind them, and the presents piled high. The air was sweet for quite some time, then Vixen took a sniff. Just as they reached South Africa, he smelled that sprouty whiff. "Oh, excuse me," said Rudy. "What a smelly, stinky fluff. I really wish this wind would go. I've cut the cheese enough." The reindeer laughed, and then they flew into the sky, the sleigh secure behind them, and the presents piled high. For a while the air was sweet. Then Comet took a sniff. On landing in the UK, he had smelled that sprouty whiff. "Oh, goodness me," said Rudy. "Now I've done a great big toot. That really was a ripper from my poor old bottom flute." The reindeer had hysterics, then they flew into the sky, the sleigh secure behind them, and the presents piled high. The air was sweet for several hours, then Cupid took a sniff. 'Cause once more, in the USA, he smelled that sprouty whiff. "Forgive me, please," said Rudy, "but I've blown my rear-end trumpet. I can't believe there was enough wind left inside to pump it." Donder, Blitzen, and the other reindeer rolled around, doubled up with laughter as they lay upon the ground. "They've laughed so much they're out of puff," said Santa. "They can't fly. However will we get this heavy sleigh home through the sky?" "Some super turbo gas is what we need now," Rudy boomed. He stuck his windy bottom in the air, and off they zoomed.
The sleigh takes off in a big green cloud.
But when they reached the North Pole, Santa got a big surprise. All the elves had wrapped their stripy scarves up to their eyes. "We've had an awful time," one little elf told Santa Claus. "Ever since you left, your wife has air pooped without pause." "Ho, ho, ho," said Santa. "Sprouts are more fun than I knew. I think I'll eat mine up next year so I can join in too."
Santa and Mrs. Claus giggle.
So if you wake on Christmas night and smell a certain stink, just look up to the sky and give old Santa Claus a wink.
Merry Christmas!
The end. Bluey, Christmas Eve with Veranda Santa. It's Christmas Eve, and Bluey's whole family has gathered at the Healer house.
Christmas lights decorate the house.
Everyone's already had dinner, which means it's nearly time for Santa to come.
The family relaxes by the Christmas tree.
Bluey is bursting with excitement. She can't wait to open the presents that are already under the tree.
No peeking at those presents.
Warns Dad. "Why not?" asks Bluey.
"Because Santa doesn't give presents to naughty kids,"
says Dad. Muffin wants to know how Santa gets in when there's no chimney. "Maybe he uses the veranda," suggests Bluey. Bingo bursts out from behind the presents. "Let's play Veranda Santa!" "Yeah!" Muffin jumps off the chair and lands on her dad's belly. "Muffin, quick, you have to say sorry," says Bingo. "Santa's watching," reminds Bluey. "Oh, I'm sorry." Now it's time to play the game. Hooray! Bluey suggests Dad can be Veranda Santa, and the kids rush into bed and pretend to be asleep.
"Okay, it's Christmas in the morning. Remember, no peeking or no presents,"
calls Dad as he walks out the door. Dad tiptoes across the veranda and into the room. Bingo giggles with excitement, and Bluey opens one eye.
"Was that a peek?"
asks Dad. Bluey shuts her eye and shakes her head. "It wasn't a peek."
"Ho, ho, and ho,"
says Dad as he slips the presents under the pillows. It's morning! Veranda Santa has left something under everyone's pillow. "Hooray!" cry the kids. "I got a snow globe. I got shaving cream. I got a pencil case." "Hey, that's my pencil case," yells Bingo, snatching it from Bluey.
"Yeah, but it's Bluey's for the game,"
says Dad.
"She'll give it back after."
Bingo apologizes, but Bluey doesn't want to accept her sorry. "Why should I?" asks Bluey. "Because Santa won't bring you any presents," explains Bingo. Santa likes children who accept sorries. "Okay, fine," says Bluey and takes the pencil case. Now it's Bluey's turn to be Veranda Santa. She grabs the hat and walks to the door. "Night, night, kids! No peeking or no presents!" "We won't!" they chorus from the bed. Bluey tiptoes across the veranda and into the room. She reaches the bed and... Ho, ho, ho!
Bluey startles them.
"Naughty children! You peeked at Santa!" she scolds. "No presents for you! I'm going to throw these in the bin." Bluey walks away, but the trio jump out of bed to protest. Muffin, Bingo, and Dad all put on their very best please faces. "We're sorry, Santa," says Bingo.
Please, will you accept our sorry?
Asks Dad. Bluey thinks for a moment, then decides she will. "I sure am a very nice child," says Bluey. "If I were the real Santa, I'd give me lots of presents." It's Bingo's turn now, and Socks rushes in to be her helper. As Bingo goes to hand out the presents, Dad scoops her up.
Oh, my teddy bear!
Bluey copies Dad and picks up Socks, but Socks is frightened and nips Bluey. "Socks bit me," yells Bluey. Dad explains to Socks that it's not nice to bite people, but that's not enough for Bluey. "She's not even saying sorry," cries Bluey. Dad shakes his head.
Socks is only one and doesn't know any better. Let's keep playing.
Fine. Bluey tiptoes across the veranda and into the room. She creeps across the bed, avoiding grabby hands to deliver the presents. Ho, 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 and no. Bluey yells, "Christmas!" Everyone looks under their pillow for a present.
I got underpants.
I got one of these.
A fidget spinner.
I got baked beans. But there is nothing under Sock's pillow.
Bluey!
Scolds Dad as Socks runs from the room.
"But she bit me and didn't say sorry," huffs Bluey. Afterward, Mom and Dad find Bluey in the living room.
Bluey, I think you should say sorry to Socks.
Says Dad. "I was teaching her that Santa doesn't give you presents if you're not nice," declares Bluey. "That's not the reason to be nice to people," explains Mom. "Then what is the reason?" asks Bluey. Mom and Dad show Bluey that Socks is sitting outside on her own, crying. "Imagine if Socks did to you what you did to her," says Dad. Bluey looks at Socks and thinks. She realizes she would be sad too. "Hi, Socks. I'm sorry I didn't give you any presents. I was mad because you didn't say sorry," says Bluey. Socks gives Bluey a lick, accepting the sorry in her own way. There's time for one last game of Veranda Santa.
Okay, night kids. Remember, no peeking or no presents,
says Dad as he goes to the door. Dad tiptoes across the veranda and into the room.
Ho, ho. Oh no!
Get him!
The family starts a pillow fight.
The end. Santa Jaws. While kids write notes to Santa Claus, sharks line up for Santa Jaws. They tell him all their Christmas wishes. Santa thinks they sound delicious. Pups awaiting, elfin sharks toil in workshops deep and dark, making toys from shelly things, a seal that squeaks, a ray that stings. Meanwhile, in the golden sands, sharks make winter wonderlands. Horn sharks trim the Christmas kelp and top it off with a little help.
A starfish.
Finally, it's the special night. Families sing by lantern light.
Lantern sharks glow.
Cookie cutter sharks make treats
Fish cookies and cupcakes.
for Santa and his Christmas fleet.
Eel pretzels.
Tiny carpet sharks are wrestled into seabeds where, once nestled, they dream of Christmas delicacies drifting across the darkening seas. Then Santa boards his merry sled, pulled by hungry hammerheads. Up to rooftops, swish, 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 down to seabeds for fish, fish, fish. He takes in all the festive sights, chewy wreaths and crunchy lights. At last he opens up his net. What will little reef sharks get? He checks the list. Naughty? Nice? Yum! He'd better check it twice. For good sharks he brings toys delish. For bad pups, weeds and rotten fish. He stuffs each sharkling's stocking tight and tests the toys, just a bite. Upon the Yuletide he swims away, with leagues to go by break of day. Pups awaking to a jingle, search the tide for old Shark Kringle. Waving a fin, he roars a good night.
Fishy Christmas to all, and to all a good bite.
Hammerhead sharks pull Santa Claus's sleigh.
The end. There are over 500 species of known sharks, with more being discovered all the time. 8 appear in this story. The elfin sharks, also known as goblin sharks, are named for their pointy, turned-up noses. They live in the deep sea. Horn sharks live near the seabed in kelp forests. Lantern sharks, the small sharks lighting the way for the singing sharks, are bioluminescent. That means they glow. Cookie cutter sharks suck on their prey, leaving behind round circles of missing flesh. Carpet sharks are not a species, but rather a group of many types of sharks that usually hide in the seabed, stealthily awaiting their prey. Hammerheads, Gigi's favorite, often swim in schools by day. Unlike in this story, they keep to themselves at night. Reef sharks include several species that dwell in coral reefs throughout the world. Most hunt by night, perhaps catching a glimpse of Santa Claus as he delivers his presents. Great white sharks, like Santa Claus, are known for taste testing a variety of animals, and even inedible objects, but they mainly eat the things they like: fish, sea turtles, seabirds, and marine mammals.
The end.